set and ready to go.
Let's get map size down to small, and then I think we'll be good.
Oh, yeah, thanks for noticing.
Something I'm learning to check, just make sure, you know, because it does make a big difference in how the 1v1 plays out.
Yeah, medium wouldn't be a disaster.
No.
Large is definitely a stretch.
Yeah. I like small. Small feels good. Tiny does not. Tiny feels awful. But
Yeah,
especially when you're scanning.
Yeah, this small here we've got a tiny map.
Look at that.
yeah, we do have a very small map with all these spires of doom off in the corner. Aito, interestingly enough, scanning into those, so he definitely whiffed a scan there. Didn't hit a spot he wanted to at all. This map is awful.
Yeah, it looks like we got a lot of single high tiles. So this is not a
scientific map so far.
So if either of them are used to it, used to going scientific, this could be a problem for them.
You can make scientific work. I will say that you've only got these 2 low iron tiles. You can maybe take advantage of the high aluminum.
I would go scavenger on
But
this
I
map.
still probably would have gone.
Oh, indecision was scientific. Well, we'll see.
Something.
You better grab those. He's great. He's on his way for those 2 iron. We'll see if Aito can adapt. I would love to see a scavenger play.
Aito can go much faster as a scavenger.
And Aito, I don't know if he's spotted it yet. He hasn't. There are actually high iron tiles in the northern corner.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And
He should
so
have scanned it better.
he could definitely drop
Just saw it.
something else here. He's going for expansive. Now, I've had some trouble with expansive in 1v1 at times. It just doesn't feel like you can take as much benefit out of your expansive quality because you're just not expanding as much.
Yeah.
And so it can be a bit of a difficulty. But certainly with a map like this, it might be a good idea.
Well, you got high iron, high aluminum. We can't complain about that.
No,
for sure.
What you can complain about is the lack of water on this map.
Yeah,
Maybe
not very much
robotic
water.
would have been a good play because he's gonna have to ship iron. He's gonna have to ship water away from the south. I think he should have gone robotic there on that spot.
I think I might have gone robotic as well. might have been a bit better decision. Not entirely sure.
You better get down there and claim one of those high waters because he's going to be...
I'm a little bit concerned that Aito's just sitting on this massive amount of iron. He hasn't done any selling of it yet to try and buy up the steel he's going to need to expand. Indecision not doing that either, but that makes a little bit more sense. He should be able to just ship these steel mills as soon as they're each at 30. And he'll have all the resources he needs to go ahead and hit that first upgrade.
Now, would you just grab the 2 low waters next to Aito if you were him?
I think so. The fuel cost is just going to be ridiculous for sending from so far away, and it feels really bad, quite frankly.
Pirates.
Yeah. Oh, here comes pirates.
Oh,
Same move, going for the seal.
Yep, Aito going to steal that steel. Well, it's that is the worst thing to see in the whole world as a scientific player when you've positioned your steel far away. At the start of the game, you do not want those day 0 pirates, and they just stole both steel mills. Now, something I'll say, if Indecision had been more on the ball, if he had gotten that steel to send when it was at 30, then he probably could have dodged these pirates, or maybe sent in preparation for the auction to make sure he would get the steel and ensure that the pirates weren't going to hurt him. He got down in time to make that happen, and he didn't. So I would call that a bit of a misstep from Indecision, but that would be a very, very high-level play to make anyways.
Yeah, I'm starting to get in the habit of sending my most important resource when I see the iron auction come up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the habit of, if I have a resource that can get targeted by pirate auctions, try and notice at like 1800. That way I can just get it to my base before the auction even happens.
Yep. Jizzo mentioned in chat, asking, is there plans to disable the catch-up, like the free claim? That's already been taken out in the next update. The free claim will just not even happen anymore. And the effects of the shipments are going to be tampered down. Whether they'll be taken out completely of 2-player, I'm not sure, but I mean there is a no random event option period, which I believe affects both global events and player events.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I like the random events in the 1v1 to some degree, especially because it really does help make Scavenger a bit viable. So it's kind of awkward to have to turn on those both off at the same time if you don't want either one. Yeah. So it's good news that we won't have any free claims running around after next patch.
He is suggesting an underground nuke on the aluminium.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good play for sure.
From either player, quite frankly.
Yeah, either way,
it
doesn't matter.
I mean, it's better for Indecision to do it, right? Because he'll be more resistant to the underground nuke. It would take, I think, 3 of them to knock that thing down to trace. Yep. Such a huge pain. to fight off a scientific player with the black market. But
oh yeah, that's the thing to remember, right? If you hit a scientific player, it only goes from high to medium. So.
Medium to low and low to trace. So the underground nuke, potentially a very, very strong tool for indecision here in particular. Now this is a huge issue. Aito is level 3, indecision is level 1. He really got to, like, indecision should have gone to the wall for those pirates. He let him go for 9,000. They were worth 30,000 for him. I'm sorry. He couldn't let this happen.
Yeah, scientific just have to protect themselves with pirate auction. The most painful thing about being scientific.
Yep. You never want to see that day 0 pirate auction as a scientific player. Worst feeling in the world when you've got your steel that far away.
Yeah, Aito's cruising ahead. He's got 60 glass stockpiled, and he's just got tons of steel mills down. He's looking great right now.
Oh yeah, Aito just feels it. He looks a lot more comfortable this game to me. Like he knows what he's doing as an expansive colony. That's what I'm feeling.
Having said that, I think he should have pushed indecision harder on that auction, that claim auction.
I think he potentially should have. I think he could have.
Yeah, he's got the higher stock price, so he can take on the debt easier. You don't want to give, like right now, you want to finish the game. You don't want to give indecision a chance to get out of it, one way or another.
Interestingly enough, indecision is really trying to claw his way back into this. He has gone ahead and been selling what resources he can as he can, it looks like, to grab up extra claims. So I believe he's gone ahead and picked up 2 extra claims. Yep. And then has that claim auction. So despite being on HQ level 1, he's sitting on 6 tiles right now.
Yep.
Well, he should start investing in them. I mean, he's thinking very quickly.
What's he done with those extra tiles? He's got 2 steel mills. Well, the pirates are gone now. Let's worry about that. So he's got 2 power. He's got the hydrolysis reactor, aluminum, and he also has a silicon tile. He may have to just build his glass furnaces by his base. I would think. Like, I'm not sure if it really makes sense to put a glass furnace on a single silicon.
No, I don't think so most of the time.
This is just not... Power. Oh, no, he took it away from him. See that power traveling all through the map, and he took that power again. I mean, indecision here can turn it a little bit by hack.
It was a good move to take the... you saw what happened there, Zoltar?
Yeah, indecision. I assume we're talking about the water tile that got blocked off.
Yeah, he wanted the medium water. It would have been a very nice tile for Aito for sure.
That's definitely a big risk of not sending those at the same time to make sure you can get both of them. Sometimes you're just going to get cut off and it's not going to work.
I wonder if Aito knows about using the claim flag. Because I wonder if he would have just correct. Because he's been level 3 for a while, so he could have claimed that earlier, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, indecision changed the card. Indecision has some interesting things working in his favor right now, but...
I hope indecision actually saw that there's more.
I really wonder why he put down this electrolysis reactor, though. I mean, he's getting the adjacency bonus, but water costs almost $100 right now.
Yeah.
I feel like a water pump would have been a better decision after that water shortage.
Well, he knew he was just about to get the medium water, so maybe he just figures he switches out. It's going to be, he's not going to get there quick enough.
Hilarious play from Aito right there. Indecision mutinies the patent lab. Aito's just going to blow that up. Says, nope, awesome. Get your own.
That is hilarious.
Can't have none of mine.
And he was, he's mutinied it, and he's scientific, so he could easily get a patent off.
For sure. You can easily pull a patent off a mutinied lab as a scientist. It's pretty ridiculous.
I assume what you would try to get would be slant drilling. Because that could really break the game open, potentially, for indecision.
Yeah, slant drilling could be pretty huge for either player of this game, quite frankly.
Especially for indecision.
Yeah.
Because then you can start dropping those glass furnaces around silicon. Any water tile on the map can become a circle, frankly.
Yeah. My big concern about slant drilling in particular is I'm not seeing a whole lot of areas to get adjacency bonuses on some of these tiles. Like, some of this silicon, there's just no adjacency available, or there's not good adjacency. It might be too easy to cut off at times. I don't know. It's a really, really, really awkward map that, quite frankly, I'm glad I'm not playing on right now.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But he'd be able to drop down that 3rd steel mill. I don't know. I'd see a lot of good things about it.
I've never seen such elegant use of funding.
One really interesting...
More facilities open in no time.
I was just saying one interesting thing about this game that we're seeing very, very different from some of our 1v1 games. Is both players' debt has been very low. Indecision just sitting at 24,000. Aito actually down at 8,000. So that's potentially going to make for a much, much slower game, which I think will work in Aito's favor.
Is he going for the carbon? Both carbon.
Wow, is he trying
He's
to
gonna hack
monopolize
the carbon.
That's possible.
That's possible.
I mean, you got to swing for the fences if you're in indecision position.
Yeah.
That's one possibility.
Is he going to have a hacker array? Oh, there you go. Before that.
He's building a hacker array. Wow, good call, Layla. Look at the price of food, though. It's starting to get to some frightening levels.
Yeah. Indecision's trying to make use of that.
Yeah, this is one place where Indecision has the advantage. He doesn't have to worry about burning water to make food. And you see the water prices collapsing now.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit nervous about this water mutiny in a way. It's going to be bringing in a lot of water for Indecision, but he's not going to have a whole lot of use for it. Water is still at $30.
Still at $30.
It's a fairly expensive resource, but
I think he's just trying to deny it to Aito to make it harder for him to make food.
Perhaps, but
glass shortage.
Maybe it would have been better to hit the silicon. Maybe it would have been better to power surge some food instead, since Aito already has that up.
Yeah, that glass shortage is going to be powerful by Aito. That could finish the game here.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly the kind of thing you'd expect on a map like this against a scientific player. Aito also going to EMP, just knock out some of these buildings. Would have rather seen a power surge. Power surge can guaranteed knock down all of those for a significant period of time, but an EMP will do just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and carbon comes up.
Well, that's because all the carbon's claimed.
Yep. Not particularly surprising. Interestingly enough, Aito doesn't care. He says, whatever. I have a hacker array. Look, if I need carbon, I'll get carbon.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think Aito really probably wants to finish up this game before carbon becomes an issue. I'm concerned about his glass furnaces. They're going to be making some money, but not a huge amount right now.
Well, it's about the glass shortage.
Yeah, it is about the glass shortage. But if he can't make this work too well, then he might be in a bit of trouble as Indecision sets up for a real play on carbon later in the game. That said, I think this glass shortage will probably work pretty well, if I'm honest. Another really important thing to note is the only thing that Patent Lab has done so far this game is get mutinied and blown up. So that's just been a wasted tile basically the whole game.
I wonder what his plan was. I mean, as expansive, I'm surprised he went that last period. I don't know. It's not obvious what he was going to do with it.
Yeah, it's not really obvious at all what he was going to do with it. I mean, he had options, but I didn't see a really clear one.
He just deleted his water pumps. Is he going to throw down some farms there? I don't know. We already has farms. Maybe throw down some reactors? But it's not going to matter. The price of... He's got 600 glass. The price is going to get over 250. So that's going to be...
Yeah. He's sitting on 103,000. That's probably enough. It's very close to being able to finish the game. If it doesn't, it's probably enough. I'm not quite sure. I can't do all that.
Well, he's going to need 60,000.
Yeah, he does need 60,000 to push, so it's not going to do it.
It's not going to be enough to finish it, but he's obviously going to be in a very dangerous position.
Yeah. But this is my concern. Okay, Indecision, I think, made a terrible decision in power surging these glass furnaces. It keeps him from transitioning them, but it's not stopping a whole lot of income from coming in, because I'm pretty sure those would just be costing money right now.
Yeah. My
big concern is apparently these farms aren't on auto supply, so they're not doing anything right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made there right now.
Mm-hmm. Power has also gone a little nuts, which I think really helped Indecision out to make him difficult to buy. Aito is sitting at 93% of what he needs right now.
He's got extra claim.
Wow, there was seriously another glass shortage.
It looks like he just turned off his farm.
That one was natural, too. That's disgusting if you're Indecision. So turns out the power surge worked out. Why would he turn off his farms? That's very strange to me. I think he's just turning off everything, trying to force money to come in on power alone.
Yeah.
Not a decision I really agree with when it comes to the farms, especially because they're adjacent to his base. If they were separated, then I could get it. Just send, okay, turn off. I'm going for a push now.
Yeah.
But with them being attached, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, he doesn't really need a push. He just needs to cruise and not make any blunders right now. So.
Yeah, I would agree. On the other hand, he sees how close he is, right? He could see that. And then I think he may have just given up and been like, whatever. The glass short came in. I'll just wait that out. Because we did have a natural glass shortage on top of the forced one. So that's pretty ridiculous.
Yep.
Another important thing to pay attention to right now, Indecision still has his steel production going. It's very slow. Right. Only 2 steel mills, 1 adjacency bonus each. 1.5 steel a second, but that's still 1.5 more than Aito has access to.
Play is strange. His silicon quarries are turned off. Okay, they're back on again. And he still hasn't done anything with those water tiles. It looks like he really did think he was maybe closer than he actually was to win.
He was so terribly close. I mean, 93%, that is pretty close. He really wanted to make that push work, but I don't think he did it quite right. He is much lower now. He's down at 51% after deciding to expand with that ridiculous cost of steel. That cost him a lot of money. And so that made it a bit more of an interesting game. Committing so heavily to this glass. I'm nervous about this. I don't know how it's going to work.
Well, he needs to do another glass.
Oh no, that's awful.
What happened?
There's a silicon shortage. There's a silicon shortage, making all of this glass production so much less valuable. I don't know how much it's going to make right now. On top of that, his silicon is getting nuked out as this happens, and so he's down to significantly less silicon income than he was at.
He's actually in danger. He needs to get rid of those glass furnaces.
Now, one thing I will say is that, okay, he turned the glass furnaces off. He responded to this very, very well. Glass is going to stay expensive, so what he can do now is make a large amount of money off of this silicon. That's going to bring the price down, and then he'll be able to turn the glass furnaces back on and still be making a lot of money, because let's be honest, 3.25 silicon a second at $200 per silicon, that's a lot of money coming in.
Sure, yeah.
These farms, though, these farms are bothering me.
Are they not working?
They're still not auto-supplied, so they're only working periodically, not all the time.
He just doesn't auto-supply as a matter of course. And he looks like he's turning on and off his Pen Lab and Hacker Ray. I guess he doesn't realize they don't consume power if they're not working.
Yeah, I think a lot of players haven't noticed that. There are definitely times to do something like turn off your Hacker Ray because maybe some of your production got a little bit hit by black market. You're not quite ready for that hack. You're at 90% on. Then you can do it, and it's fantastic. But other than that, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, strange enough, Indecision is sitting on pirates. It seems like you'd throw them on this would now be a great time to put them on those silicon routes.
Yeah. Certainly. If he already has pirates, I am quite surprised, actually. Those did not go down. Oh, there you go. He did it. He got it done. I would really love to see Aito put up this water, though. That might be in the path of the pirates and provide some significantly smaller, quality of resources. What is this additional silicon short? I'm sure that one wasn't espionage. I was watching. The Hacker Ray is still working. It was nowhere close to going off.
I hate those filthy.
Maybe it was hacked. I don't think it was though. I think that was natural.
Let's switch over Aito. What click on is?
I mean, he is shorting silicon, but he's so far into it. I don't think. Well, anyway, he's at 57% of indecision right now. He's, I think, forced to defend himself if he can still. Well, there's the last of it. He did buy up the last little bit of his stock. So Aito, with the stock advantage here, he has 4 in himself and 7 in indecision. So indecision still not looking in that great a spot.
Boy, it ended up a lot closer than I thought it would be.
But yeah, it definitely got pretty close.
It's just a 1 stock difference, basically. Nuking the silicon looks like.
One thing I will say for indecision, it feels like he's fighting back with everything available to him. He's taking these auctions. He's using the black market. He's doing everything he can to try and pull himself back into the game. Whereas Aito is really just kind of trying to coast to victory here and make it work. I'm also very concerned he's letting these silicon shorts go through when half of his silicon production is going into indecision's hands.
Yep. Yeah, at this point it's counterproductive.
Yeah. I mean, they're sitting on very, very similar amounts of silicon right now. Nobody's really getting a short-term benefit out of it. Long-term, it still goes in Aito's favor, right? He's got that water production up we were talking about. The pirates are almost certain to catch at least some of that instead of silicon. So long-term, it could still work out, but short-term, it's still a bit of an issue.
He is now, and he built those water pumps, which is a great move to keep those pirates down. He's also researching slant drilling. I would expect him to put well, so basically find, what does he have a core? Does he have a silicon quarry left that has not been resource bombed? Yes, on the west side.
Yeah, he does.
So probably be dropping a couple guys down there, but he better buy up a nuke just to have it, just to drive that price up.
Yes. This is my other concern, by the way, about Indecision's decision to go for the carbon monopoly. Is realistically, like, those are turned off right now. Carbon's not doing anything. Nobody really had to buy carbon this game, first of all. Second, the map has dry ice literally all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you absolutely needed carbon, it was available. So I think these are just two massively wasted tiles that could have been doing so much more. Very similar to that patent lab for most of this game.
What is he doing with those dry ice condensers? He has massive amounts of carbon. I mean, if he needs to make a hacker array play, but it's too late at this point.
Oh, I agree. I don't know what those dry ice condensers are doing there, honestly. Like, those are so expensive in power. When they come online in the midst of this power short, could cause massive amounts of issues, and he's not being allowed to transition all of them the way he's attempting to into wind turbines.
By the way, that third low silicon has been nuked too. So now Aito has 3 trace silicon tiles.
One thing that definitely needs to be noted, Aito not really getting to use his tiles very well at all. He's had just empty tiles sitting around for a vast majority of this game, not doing anything for him. So he's not really getting advantage off of the fact that he's expansive, since he's just not using them. And indecision is all the way to 80% of buying him out.
Really?
Whereas Aito's only sitting at about 60 right now. He's going to have to make something happen. And I'm very concerned in particular about how indecision's been allowed to just sit on these steel mills and not have a counter steel play coming out of Aito ever.
Yep. It's the power is what's doing it right now. And Aito's just dropped down 3 wind turbines on top of those trace silicon. So now he must have had 4 low silicons all underground nuked this game, because he went to +1 silicon, which I think
he also
from
shorted power.
Yeah, who's shorting power?
He did.
Aito shorted power? Well, that's unfortunate, because I think Indecision was the one who made all the money off of that. That's, you gotta be careful with the hacker array. Because right now, Indecision has 5 wind turbines, and he's turned everything off, so he reacted quickly.
Yeah, and those 5 wind turbines do have superconductor attached to them, by the way.
Oh, really? I forgot that. How did he get that? Indecision has acquired the patent.
Yes, he needed the patent lab.
Oh, brilliant!
And he got the superconductor off of it. He's going for nanotech now. I don't know if he has the time, and regardless, that's gone now. So,
yeah, that patent lab, Aito would have been better off without that thing for this whole game.
It's pretty much neck and neck right now when it comes to buying each other out. Both sitting at around 70.
73.
Yeah, wow. But Indecision is certainly rising a bit faster. He's up at 77 right now.
Well, the power rush is over. He needs to switch. He needs to first get rid of those dry ice condensers, and then do something else with all those plots.
Yeah,
he's made some great moves, but now neither one of them are using their plots. Aito has 2 empty plots.
I know, and this is my other concern about that steel. I feel like part of it is he hasn't wanted to just pay for buildings this whole time. Yeah. There we are. Some steel production coming down. Even these are going to cost a ridiculous amount of money because of how much iron costs. Think about if these farms would got converted back into iron mines just for a short time. Okay, he is doing it with 1. This is kind of the interesting thing about the way Aito's been positioning his plots. Just created some difficulties for himself, and Indecision's getting ever closer to getting that buy.
It's tough. He made some Aito made some really short-term decisions when he was just so close. And, you saw he thought, well, if I get to level 5, I don't really need any more steel mills. But now here we are. He needs the steel mills.
And also, silicon getting so expensive. Aito never defended a single one of his silicon tiles, so they all went down to trace, and he just wasn't able to use them.
And Indecision is the one producing silicon now, right?
Mm-hmm. He's got that 1 silicon tile, which is working much better than Aito's one, which is sitting at trace. They're still just pulling back and forth this whole time. I honestly have no idea who's going to pull this one out, so that's quite interesting at least. Power short coming in. That's going to do probably nothing, because frankly, power's being dumped into the market.
94% of Aito.
All right, that's starting to really get there.
Did Aito mouse over this? Did he actually get the slant drilling?
I don't believe he did. I'm a little bit worried about that patent lab.
No, he did get slant drilling.
Oh, did he?
He should switch those, even though they're traced, he should get rid of those wind turbines and drop down 3 quarries there.
That's actually really interesting. Oh, Indecision sitting at the 100%.
100%.
Is he going to notice?
Oh!
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that was a
huge turn.
That was an incredible comeback by Indecision.
Wow.
That's got to hurt for Aito. He was so close. What was the highest? Did you see how high his percent got?
I think 93 is where it capped out. It was pretty close, but I think there were some really questionable decisions during the course of that push that if he hadn't made them, he could have actually succeeded.
Yeah, I need the right metaphor. It's like, you're running, you take that jump, and you land just like a couple feet short, and then you have no forward progress. You know, that, I see that happen a lot in Offworld. You know, when you're going for like, especially in the 2-player game.
Yeah. All right. Well, Indecision did end up making more money off of Silicon than Aito did, sitting at 155,000 sold. So that's pretty disgusting. Aito did make more money on glass. That's fairly nice for him. Indecision making seriously a lot of money on oxygen.
Yep.
Fair amount on carbon. Certainly the ice condensers working all right for some period of time, that game. With the only real questionable part being the power price for a while. Because that was a bit of an issue.
Yeah. I mean, Indecision made some very good choices that game after he founded. Like, I think that was the initial found was a big mistake. But after that moment, he seems like he did the best he could with what he had. He made great use of the black market.
That's the thing I really actually want to harp on this game is I'm going to go to the black market tab right now and look. Indecision with 10 black market purchase. And all of them, 7 of them aggressive. 3 new claims, which we saw most of which he grabbed up very, very early in the game to make up for the fact that he couldn't expand at all. And then 3 underground nukes, 3 mutinies, and 1 power surge. Whereas Aito made 8 black market purchases, 4 EMPs, 2 dynamites, and 2 goon squads. And both of those dynamites were counters to mutinies, rather than going ahead and just grabbing up your own mutiny.
Yeah.
Which is a bit interesting because the prices weren't that different at that stage of the game, and I have to question it because he definitely had the money to get to the mutiny when he needed it, especially the first time.
Yeah, it may have been an emotional response. I think maybe sometimes people don't think about mutiny, back to mutiny. They just want to get rid of the thing.
Yeah.
But certainly considering the fact he was going to have to rebuild the patent lab, that seems like that would have been the obvious choice.
Yeah, that is the especially questionable part. At that stage of the game, when glass is getting crazy expensive, you're trying to make money on glass because of that cost, and then you're just cutting into it even more, trying to get those farms down, having to rebuild your patent lab. It's just, I don't know if that was the right call.
Yep.
He's actually in the lobby. I created one just so we can talk.
That's good.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, Aito is in the chat for Zoltar. He says, "Man, that was intense. Learned a lot."
Yeah.
Tough loss for Aito.
Indecision made it hard on him. I mean, Indecision. We have to hand it to Indecision. Indecision earned that win, right?
Yep,
he was clearly playing quite well that game. So a bit of a tough loss for Aito, but definitely shouldn't take it too hard. That was a really, really well played game by Indecision.
Yep.
I was just, my eyes were glued at the percentage. Like, 94.
Yeah.
What?
You didn't quite get to 100. It's interesting to ever have the game where someone actually gets to 100 and then ends up losing, but this was not quite that, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, I have seen that before. It is an interesting little game. Usually not 1v1. Usually 1v1 people are on the ball enough, but
right. Yeah.
I really like
it. I mean, when you see that percentage, it seems so obvious to you, the viewer, but to the person playing, like
they may not notice.
They don't know.
And
it's easy to sell all, but how do you back your way out of that once you realize you just bottomed out the aluminum market and you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I really find it hilarious that silicon was the second most expensive resource that game. Like it peaked at the highest point, and the only thing that really got too close to it was electronics right at the end. Oh man. What a ridiculous game.